At this time, I'd ask the public, if they wish to address the alderman, to please come forward first, and I'm going to invite Greg Ford at this time. Mr. Ford.
Thank you for this time you're letting me have up here. My name's Greg Ford. I live at 8311 Lane. Lived at that house approximately 13 years. I'm here to talk about what's perceived as a gang problem that started and seems to run between 83rd Street and 87th Street along Lane, over to the apartments on 87th Street west of Lane, and extends down to the school on just the south, on the north side of 83rd Street. Recently, we've had a number of crimes over there, running gun battles. Just recently, some bad vandalism on top of the school. I've had stuff stolen from my house, my yard, my cars. These gangs of youths have blocked my daughters from driving up and down the street. We've identified some of them. It's odd when you see 20-year-olds hanging out with 14-year-olds. I don't know what to do anymore. And I hope some of my neighbors in that neighborhood are in the audience today and will come up here and speak. I'm just stunned that it's turned to this. If you were, some nights, if you were in my house, I can look right out on the street, you would be able to film Gangland from the History Channel out there. I have no idea. That's not my neighbor's kids that's doing that. I don't know where these kids are coming from. Some of the things that might help with this issue is I'm sure there's an ordinance for impeding traffic. Write them a ticket. I'm sure there's a noise ordinance. When somebody drives down the street and my house is completely closed up and I hear the music in my house, that's too loud. I like loud music. That's too loud. Now, I'm assuming there's a noise ordinance. Traffic, I've never seen a police officer on 83rd Terrace clocking cars coming down lane between 84th and 83rd Street. Never. I've suggested a stop sign there, four-way stop. They tell me it's too close. It's too short of a run. Well, I would recommend that that the aldermen go look at Sterling, but south of 63rd Street, and look how close those stop signs are. Woodson, south of 75th Street, and look how close those stop signs are. They could put a four-way stop there, and that would eliminate some of the racing up and down the street. I don't know. I do have noticed some increased patrols in that area, but things are still happening. My neighbor was too scared to call the police when the running gun battle was going on. He witnessed it and didn't call the police because he was scared. I had a young man knock on my door and say, they just broke into your car, took your daughter's book bag. While he's telling me this, they're in the street telling him, snitches get stitches. I went to the junior high, talked to the principal. He's fully aware. I said, it's up to you guys that seems to control these kids in between school and home. Very nice, met with me, talked to me. What can he do? His hands are tied so much. I don't know what to do. We voted in higher taxes for police force and things like that, public safety. I don't see it up there. Only thing I see up there is our neighborhood going down, our property values going down. What's it going to take? Murders are happening in Raytown, one today. I don't want one in front of my house. I don't want bullets flying through my window while I'm watching TV. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next, we've got Deb Gann. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Evening, Ms. McGann. Evening.
Hi. My name's Deborah Gann. I live at 8408 Lane Place, over in Meadow Lane area association. When I came back from vacation, I got bombarded by a lot of neighbors telling me all the things that had happened while we were gone. The kid down in the apartments on Lane that got robbed like 3 in the morning is what my understanding was, and got beat up, and he was down doing his laundry and somebody came to rob him. And then the next day, a neighbor on Lane Drive, her 15-year-old son got beat up by about 25 kids that were wearing red shorts and white T-shirts. The gang, I guess, the police said that they're like wannabe Bloods or something, is what I heard that they had said. And now that this little boy Matthew was beat up, I mean, he had a problem with his spleen. He's got a bruised kidney, had bruises all over his body. Had to go to the hospital, and St. Joe couldn't do some things for him. They had to send him over to Children's Mercy Hospital to do the rest of the testing. And now, after living in Meadow Lane for 10 years, they are moving clear across to California. Her son's already gone, and she will be going shortly. Then the first day of school out on June 1st, it was crazy around our neighborhood. There was people, I don't know if this was the exact day, but a neighbor in the apartments over there had seen a kid get off the school bus with a gun. He had called the police. Then his car, I think, got windows or something got busted out. I'm not sure of all the timeline on all this because I didn't witness all of it. But we were going to have our granddaughter over that very next weekend, and with everything going on that one day, the first day school out, my husband and I decided, no, we're not letting her come over, because we were fearful as to what was going to happen that weekend. The police are out there every day, several times a day. They were out there last night. 3 policemen were out breaking up a thing on Lane Drive. I wasn't over there, so I don't know all the details. But back on June 1st, when the kids were first out of school, there were some kids that were across the street, and they were commotion and stuff going on. I went out my front door to see what was going on, and 3 of the kids came over and asked me they stood right in the middle of my street, facing right towards me, asking me what my problem was. Found out these kids were middle-aged kids. And then 3 more kids came over and did the same thing. They were all like trying to intimidate me, and I just said to them, I said, you're messing with the wrong person. Pretty soon they disappeared down at the end of the street. I called the police, and I don't know what ended up. I guess they dispersed. And then last Wednesday, I think it was, the kid that stole the 4-wheeler gators from Spring Valley Elementary School's roof came down my back drive, which they have no business going on it. It's a personal back drive. Drove it up, crashed it into the fence, and he leaped off of there. And I asked him, I said, what are you doing? And I said, wait a minute. And he said, sorry, ma'am, I'm going to go get my dad. Well, he wasn't going to get his dad. He ended up bringing back his other friend with him, walking up the aisle or the back drive. And as soon as he saw that myself and the other neighbor were talking, they disappeared. Well, in the meantime, the police got there. And while they were there, I noticed that they were walking down, these same 2 boys, and the one that was riding it, were walking down Lane Place. And I told the police right then, I said, look, there they go. This is the kid that was on the gator. So they took out after him. And when they did that, they ran through over to Lane Drive, and there was a bunch of kids over there, and they were saying, okay, they went this way, they went that way, trying to detour where the kids ran. Police didn't get them, but the police report was made. So we are not understanding why the police are not arresting these kids, taking them. I mean, if they're juveniles, why don't they take them to their home instead of saying, okay, kids, slap them on the back, whatever it is that they're doing. They need to physically do something with these kids, because they stand in the middle of the street and you can't even get your car down the street. They mooned